Hey, welcome back to Next Third, Best Third. I'm David Fenwick, founder and your host, and I'm joined again by Taylor Lees, my good friend, my producer, my do-everything guy here. Mm-hmm. Taylor, so good to have you here.
Yeah, it's always fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited about
You are
this
excited,
one.
yeah. So today's going to be a little different. We're going to turn it over and have Taylor lead the way on this because Taylor asked me a question a couple weeks ago in an episode, and it was a kind of a teaser. And so we're titling this, Is Your Marriage Holding You Back? And this is all you, buddy. So let's see what you're going to do.
So, a few episodes ago, we were talking about the bucket list and your dreams and things that you have a passion for since you're a kid. And you're doing them now. Yeah. But you're divorced and you moved on and you're a single man. And I asked you, well, do you think you would have gone after these dreams if you were still married? Oh, man, do you think you would have done this if you were still married?
I will say this, and this is really hard, and this is probably as vulnerable and real as I'll ever be in public. But
and you said no.
Yeah.
And I was shocked.
You were shocked.
I was like, whoa. I was like, that's interesting to me. And so that's the birth of this idea of, is marriage holding you back? Because, my generation, I'm a millennial generation. So that generation is between 1981 and 1996. So the age group that they would be right now today would be between 29 years old and 44 years old.
Okay.
So what I'm seeing in my generation more than ever is this whole new shift of marriage and what marriage looks like and partners and like this word. I'm like, and everyone's using this word now, like your partner, and I get it, but like it's almost like the word spouse is kind of left and they're replacing with a partner,
right? Because
spouse is someone you're married to, but a partner is just someone you're doing life with, and you could or could not be married. You could or could not be married, and I'm seeing so many people in my age group, like my peers. They're just doing this life of just like, oh, we don't need marriage. We don't need that because we can just do it anyway. And it's just kind of, it just kind of shocked me. But when you brought up the fact that you feel like you wouldn't have been able to complete your goals and your vision and your mission, whatever you want to call them, if you were married, you said no. That kind of made me want to build this episode because I'm like, well, why?
Right.
So I'm like, because we didn't go into that.
No, not at all.
We left it there. That was kind of
a cliffhanger. That's right.
So I'm like, so my question is, in that moment, because I know like a lot of people that listen to this will be like, oh, come on, marriage isn't holding you back, blah, blah, blah. They can all dissect it, but we're going to break us all apart. But why do you think you wouldn't have completed any of those?
Well, so yeah, this is going to go a couple different directions, right? Which is good. And so just hang in there with us on this one. But I found myself in the middle of my brokenness trying to survive. Yeah. I was trying to find meaning and purpose when nothing made sense to me, right? I mean, when my wife left, it total shock, caught me totally off guard. And I was just like going, man, nothing's going to be the same, right? And in that place where I was just struggling, saying nothing's going to be the same, that's when this Next Third, Best Third was birthed. So out of that, I started saying, okay, what can I do with my life? And I started to pursue things that we've talked about, the podcast, being an author, acting classes, all the things that I'm doing. And when you ask that question, the honest answer is I wouldn't have, because I discovered a lot of myself through the pain.
Wow.
So, but let me get this real clear. It wasn't because my marriage was holding me back in sense of I'm better now because I'm divorced. That's not true at all.
Okay. Yeah.
What it was is I wasn't in a place in my life where I was really investigating me and discovering me. I had gotten complacent. I'd gotten into this routine. We were just doing life.
Yeah.
We were doing it well, we thought. But obviously we weren't.
Yeah.
But I would not have explored what I've explored since if I didn't go through the pain of the divorce.
Yeah.
And that's a shame. And that's what I hope the guys get out of this, and the guys and gals who are listening, is we need to be exploring these what ifs and these dreams and these, possibilities with our spouse.
Yeah.
And there I said spouse.
Yeah, you did say spouse, not partner. And that's so good, because I even, going back, because I've been divorced. I got remarried. So now I have an amazing woman in my life, and she's my spouse, and she's awesome. And I decided that, with this episode, bringing up my old marriage, there were so many red flags.
Yeah.
Like, there were so many things that I'm like, okay, maybe one, I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for marriage. Maybe I was, or maybe this person just isn't that person. But because we're sexually active, that's a whole other episode. But like, when you have a sexual connection with someone, these chemicals and this bonding thing happens.
Yes. So
you almost feel that attachment of like, I want more of it, not just the sexual connection, but and I was young, I was in my early 20s, just like 2021. And I felt, and yes, I was a Christian, quote unquote, doing all that stuff behind closed doors. So that was already setting my marriage up for failure, starting off that way. Yeah. But with my next marriage, with my wife now, we didn't have sex until we were married, which was amazing. That's fantastic. I never thought I would ever accomplish, because I went down a terrible route. I went down a horrible lifestyle. I was so dark. I was so disgusting. I was not a good person. Like, I really genuinely thought I was a terrible person. And so I never thought I could get healed and be a good person and find someone like my wife now. But even then, when we were going through marriage counseling, the pastor that was giving us marital counseling, premarital counseling, said that there are some red flags because our vision, our passions don't really line up. And I was like, well, but that's fine. That's okay. Like, I was touring, I was traveling the world with a worship leader guy and building content and doing all this stuff for him. Just giving my life to that guy. And so my wife was like concerned that I wanted to become this dude and do that very thing for my career. And I'm like, well, I'll just take you with me. I would make her part of my passion. Like, I would take her with me. Right. But then she had a passion to be a really well-renowned photographer, travel also, and do, fashion shoots all over the world, all that stuff. And so I was like, well, I could join your passion and travel with you. And so there, and then in the beginning, she was like afraid of having kids, because she was just afraid like she wouldn't be a good mom or something like that. Like, she had all this stuff. So there were some things in the beginning that were like, oh man, this is a concern. But since we've been married, it's been, life changed and we changed. And so the thing is now, our vision, I wouldn't say our vision has changed, but we got more clarity in our vision and what maybe a marriage should look like. Right. So we got married, and there's stages I feel like with you guys could have realigned your vision together and continued. Right. So like, some people maybe get their vision clear and then they get married. So I feel like there's different stages in that. But with that, I mean, there were red flags before we started, and our visions has changed and all that. And I mean, I still tell my wife, like, hey, there's some things I still would like to do. And she's like, that's awesome. That's great.
See, now that's such a key, because, for us, when we got married, very shortly after that, I got into ministry, and we were extremely happily married. And then, I had 2 kids from my first marriage before I came to the Lord. And so we were parenting them, when they were with us, but then we started having our own together. So now our family grew from 2 to 6, that went. And what we were doing was, so I was doing ministry. I had another business that was making money, and she was raising a family. And this seemed like, this is all good. Yeah. This is what life is about. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, the empty nest syndrome started getting close. We weren't quite empty nesters. We still had a young one, an 11-year-old at home. But at that point, that's where the difference between us, that we weren't investing in each other. We weren't even asking each other what our dreams are.
Oh man, for how long?
I mean, we never really dove into that, right? We were just doing this life that looked like a picture perfect life together. And we didn't have those conversations. Sometimes, I mean, I knew what some of her passions were and, vice versa, but we weren't really excavating it, looking at it and saying, hey, how can we make this happen for you, for me, together? How can we make this stuff happen? Yeah. And all of a sudden, she decided she's just going to reinvent herself, and so when that's my point that you're talking about is in our relationships, we have to be so careful that we don't get complacent, Yeah. And it fits the pillars of next third, best third so much because, we have to, what we say is to really examine yourself and take honest appraisal and then make the changes with intentionality. Yeah. And if you're in a marriage right now, if you're listening and you're in a marriage and with your spouse and partner, we'll call them, because you are both, spouses and partners, it really, you should be examining your marriage. Yeah. Is this the marriage we want it to be? How can we change? It's like rediscovering each other because you do change over time. Yeah. See, and that's the thing that hit me too is, and it's part of the statistics of why people get divorced after 20, 25 years. Sheesh, yeah. Is that they've grown apart. And I almost hate that term because it's like, that's the justification. Yeah. Oh, I don't love you anymore. We've grown apart. Well, frankly, that's BS. Yeah. It might be true that you have grown apart, but you can navigate that and get back together, Yeah. But just to quit on that, Yeah,
and that's a good point because, I mean, looking at the statistics and, I mean, some of you know this, David and I are Christians, so, we believe in God and everything, but I'm just going to go over the statistics of America in 2025 for marriage. Like, I'm not going to separate it like, but Christians' divorce rate is different. But no, this covers everyone. I don't care.
And by the way, the divorce rate in the church is the same.
It's almost the same. Almost the exact same. But this covers if you're Muslim, Buddhist, whatever, atheist, doesn't matter what religion you are, you're covered under this. So this is kind of shocking to me, honestly, when I looked this up. So in 2025, the average age for a first marriage, which I thought was interesting, that a first marriage in the United States is 32, both for men and women.
Wow, that surprises me.
Yeah, because growing up, it was young marriage stuff. Right. Like, I mean, you get when you're young, you get married. So marriage rates are declining, with more people delaying or foregoing marriage altogether. Divorce rates are also experiencing a decline, with estimates around 40 to 41% for first marriages. Mm-hmm. So there's a growing trend of cohabitation before marriage, and couples are prioritizing finding a long-term partner over getting married. So just reading that, the reason why the divorce rate is going down is because they're not getting married. That's right. They're just being a partner, long-term partner.
And there's no way to really measure partners who just dissolve their partnership and go different ways.
Yeah. Right? So that's crazy. I also thought this was quite interesting. The average marriage length in the U.S. right now is 10 years.
Really?
10.8 years. Yeah, that's wild to me. Like, that's the average rate people are married, is just 10 years, and then they give up. So the divorce rate by marriage type, lifetime divorce probabilities are significant. It's, for the first marriage, it's 41 to 50%. So 1 in 2 marriages are going to make it. 60% for second marriages and 73% for third marriages. Yeah. Yeah. So, but couples who are married after 25 have a lower risk of divorce within 10 years, while those who are married after 30 have a lower risk overall. So I'm like, so I guess if you get married too early, you have a higher risk. If you get married too late, yeah. So it is pretty interesting looking at just some of these statistics.
Right.
And I mean, because for me, I'm coming up on my 7th year, and I'm falling more and more in love with my wife every day.
That's awesome.
But it's because I'm making decisions to do that.
Right.
Like, you know, I know people in my life, and I've seen people and stuff where I'm like, I take a step back and I'm like, dude, what you're doing, man, is not good. Yeah. Like, your wife is not going to keep wanting to this lifestyle forever. Like, and it's just interesting.
There's a proverb that says, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And that's a really important one, because we think that, you know, you get married because you love somebody. Right?
Yeah.
I'm just so in love with somebody.
Yeah.
And if you're not investing your treasure into that relationship, love will wane. Because love is, first off, love's an emotion. Yeah. Secondly, it's a choice.
Yeah.
You know, and so I've seen it where if you're not investing into your wife or your partner, you know, if you're not investing into that relationship, sooner or later, one or both of you are going to sense, hey, I'm not in love anymore.
Yeah.
And being in love is not the substance for having a successful marriage.
Yeah, it's true.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much more to it. And so I think you're 100% right. One of the things that you guys are doing is you are investing in each other.
Yeah.
And so the love follows that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And it's, I mean, we have a hard time with it. We're not perfect, but I mean,
she's married to you. It's got to be tough.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Oh my God. Yeah. Cause I go through these phases, and, so where I get like I'm very spontaneous. I said, like, from like a movie, Happy Feet, but I'm very oh my gosh. Spontaneous. There's, oh my God. So,
I'll help you out.
Thank you. Yeah. My son loves the movie Happy Feet, and the little penguins say spontaneous, and now it's stuck in my brain. Thank you. I'm very spontaneous. Oh my God. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
you're impulsive.
Thank you. Yes. So when I get passionate about something, I go like all in on it for months until like, not if I get bored, or until I find the next thing that's super awesome. Like, I'm super into hunting. And so when hunting season comes around, I'm all in. I'm like, oh my God. And then I've recently gotten super into golf. So I've been golfing a lot. And so, but then like, my friends would come up to me and be like, dude, you golf? And I was like, yeah. And I'm like, but I'm super into it. So I'm like, but they didn't know. So it's just funny how I go on these journeys of going. But with having kids now, it's harder for me to go do those things.
Absolutely.
But it's the same thing even with my marriage, with my wife. Like, I'm very spontaneous.
Impulsive.
Spontaneous. Okay. Spontaneous. So, but with my wife, we've been hearing like, oh, you should have date night every week. It's so important. All this, like all these influencers on social media, they're on a date, recording their date while they're telling you to go on a date, whatever. But, so my wife and I, so we have a struggle like going on a date, because we're just so exhausted, so tired. And
we got two little ones.
We got two little ones. We both work from home. We both have our own businesses. So like for us, a date night is like, hey, let's just sit outside and, you know, have a margarita and just talk for a second. And like, that's like a little date night for us. Sure. Just outside. But getting out and going to dinner, getting out, going to see, you know, the sunset or something, that where we can connect is harder for us to do. But it's interesting because I like, when I don't have that, I miss my wife more, but also like, I still feel super connected to her because we're doing things together instead of doing things separately. And then we're also we're communicating really well with each other.
Well, I think that's the key, because I know in our marriage, you know, we raised this family together. We were very, very close as a family, you know, and we enjoyed our yard. We enjoyed doing stuff like that, you know. But that intentionality about digging into each other and really kind of excavating, you know, how you doing? What's going on in your thought life? Yeah. How's your emotions? Am I being a good husband? How am I performing? Am I leading properly? You know, just some of these tougher questions.
That's a hard question.
But also, at this point in your life, you know, have your dreams changed? You know, those are great questions.
Yeah. I mean,
and we might ask it of each other. So you and I, we interact a lot, and we're always challenging each other, and like you'd say, I want to do this golf trip, and
Oh yeah, sure.
we do that all the time. But do you do that with your spouse? Do you do that with your partner? Is to really listen.
Well, and that's a great thing in listening, because the at the beginning of the year, my wife and I, we sat down and New Year's Eve, all your resolutions, whatever.
Yeah.
But so we made these goals, and we did it together. We didn't do it separate.
Right.
Like, we sat down together. I was like, hey babe, what are your goals this year? Like, what do you feel? And then she's like, what are your goals? And I'm like, man, so like, hey, let's do family goals. Like, we never done that before.
Right.
And we're like, hey, let's do some family goals. So we did some family goals, and then we did business goals. So we have this long list. Are we going to complete them? I don't think so. I mean, it's pretty long. There's a lot of goals, but we had that time together, and I got to hear my wife's heart. I got to hear her vision of what she wanted for the year.
What's important to her.
Yeah, and she was like that line a lot of people use. I don't know if it's from a certain book or something, but they want to be seen, they want to be known, and want to be heard. So those are the things.
That's one of my lines.
It's not your line.
I use it all the time.
You got it from a book, because I've heard someone else say anyway. But being able to do that with her,
right,
was special, and also it made me feel like she was connecting with me somehow, and hearing my vision, all that. But going back to what you said, did my visions change and all that? I'm like, yeah, because I woke up. I was like, okay, so these visions I had, before I was married, I'm like, okay, those are some, I wouldn't say selfish things, but those are some things that I was like, I want to do that. Like, it's not like, but how would that help me become a better husband? How would that help me become a better father? So like, my vision has changed now, because like, I purposely do things that help me become a better man, a better father, a better husband. So, but it's like, I'm not purposefully looking for it, but it's just like naturally, like with hunting, for some reason, like when I'm hunting, I'm out in nature, I'm quiet, I'm away from my phone, I'm in this peaceful place, I'm like, I'm being collected, and then when I come home from that, I feel so full and so full of energy that I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm becoming better. And then when I do that with some good friends, when I go hunting with friends, we challenge each other, we talk about stuff, like, so when I come home, I'm better.
So here's something, as you're talking, I'm thinking there's to examine your motivation, right? What's your motivation there?
Yeah.
Because when I used to love to play golf, and when we had all these kids, I stopped playing because I wasn't going to give 6 hours up. I just wasn't going to do it because I didn't think it was fair to my wife or my kids.
Yeah.
Now, what if that was an extremely important thing to my well-being, to my self-care?
Yeah.
We could have had a conversation, my wife and I, and she would have supported it. I know she would have, but instead I kind of denied that because I thought of it as selfish. But there are those guys who they do their hobbies to avoid their responsibilities, that to avoid their marriage, to avoid, and it is very narcissistic at times and very selfish. Yeah. So there's a fine line between, hey, I'm going to do self-care and I'm going to be selfish. Yep. And I think that's one of the things I've observed with you over these years, is seeing how you are doing these things in a very self-care way. Yeah. Yeah. And you've communicated it to your wife. I've heard
yeah. And it's funny you bring that up, because when I first really got into hunting, it was when my wife, when she was pregnant with our firstborn. And so I was really getting into hunting. Had a friend of mine who's like the same like me. He was excited about it. So that got me more excited about it. So we go do it together. So I was going out hunting, and I was doing these things, and my wife started to feel like I was putting hunting before her. But she didn't hold that in. She told me. Yeah. There it is. She told me, hey babe, I feel like, yes, we did get into a fight about it and blah, blah, blah. But still, she told me, hey, I feel like hunting is more important than me. And I'm like, that's absurd, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's so dumb. Like all this stuff. Yeah. And instead, I'm like, wow, like man, I didn't realize you were feeling that way. I'm so sorry. It's not. And then I've tried to invite her. Hey, why don't you come hunting with me? Like, why don't you read a book? Why don't you? She's like, no, that's disgusting. I don't want you to watch you kill birds and kill animals and all. That sounds terrible. I don't want to sit in the rain. And I'm like, babe, it's awesome. It's the best. She's like, no. But the thing is, she told me how she felt, and I was able to tell her, no way. Yeah. And there's even some cases where, I think it was last hunting season. I was like, hey babe, I'm going to go hunting. I'm going to spend the night. I was just like an hour and so away from home. And so I spend the night, and she calls me in the morning, and I'm supposed to hunt. And, I was excited about this. And she calls me and she's like, babe, our daughter just threw up. Like, she's sick, or one of the kids was sick. She was by herself. She was alone. She didn't have help this time. And so I'm like, awesome. Okay, I'm packing up and coming home. Like, I didn't tell, like, oh shoot, sorry babe.
Right.
I can't. Like, I can't come home. And I feel like I've heard so many men do that thing right there, where they're like, babe, I can't.
So you said something that she told you, right? That she initiated it. Mm-hmm. How much better would it be for a man to initiate and ask the questions ahead of time? I mean, that's really what this comes down to. See, my wife was a suppressor. She buried stuff, right? Yeah. And she plowed ahead. I mean, she was hardworking, and she just did, but she would never sit there and spend time saying, I'm feeling this way. Yeah. And there's a part of me being an avoider at that point. So we have a suppressor and an avoider. Mm-hmm. What a perfect match that is. People have heard me say this online on podcasts before, that we never had a fight, and I used to brag about that. Yeah. How unhealthy is it to not have conflict? Because conflict always brings growth. Yeah, it does. Especially if you're doing it healthy. Yeah. And if I would have been initiating more, drawing out of her, who knows where we would have been. Yeah. And that's the thing with the guys listening is you have to be intentional. Your wife needs, and your spouse needs, your partner needs to be seen, to be heard, and to be valued. And it's up to us to be the initiators of that. Yeah. And that's I had to learn that, because, and I don't care who you are or how cool you think you are or whatever, but like, therapy really helped me. Yeah. And I went through therapy for 3 years, because I was messed up, but I had things happen. Like, my dad got into a plane crash. He survived, but he crashed a plane, crawled out, the plane blew up. I mean, it's almost like a movie, like this, and it happened to my dad. So I went through hard stuff around that. My brother passed away. He took some fentanyl, flared up a heart attack in him, and he died in his sleep. My grandma died, and then I got fired from my job. Like, all this happened within like 9 months. Right. All of it. Right. And so I went through a lot of therapy, but I was a different person. Like, I know mental health and all that, which we can go on a different episode about that, but like mental health and everything, my wife was a champion during all that stuff that I went through it. But we, after I went through all my therapy, we actually went through some couples therapy after that, because my wife was struggling with a bunch of stuff personally. I was struggling with stuff personally, but then because of the personal stuff, it affected our marriage. Yeah. So that like, therapy helped us so much, and I'll forever be grateful. But I did it for 3 years, but I feel like no one is too good for therapy. Right. And that's something that a lot of people can. I'll be honest with you, our age difference kicks in here, because in my generation, therapy is unheard of, basically, right? You just avoided it, because your generation definitely. Oh my God! Everyone's got a therapist. My generation's insane, man. So, they're out going to like wellness retreats, and like, I'm go sit in a salt tub and be in the dark. That's right. That's right. But what you're saying is so true. It's because if you don't deal with it, if you're not addressing it, which is really a conflict, right? You have to conflict with yourself to get better. Yeah. You have to conflict with your spouse, not against her, but towards a goal. Yeah. Right. But so often what ends up happening when a man finds himself in a position where he's struggling emotionally, maybe not knowing how to deal with it. His wife and him, she's busy with that part of her life, and you're finding yourself, quote unquote, growing apart. That's when a man so often starts to medicate, and you can medicate with tons of things. I mean, it'd be easy to go down the list. Yeah, golf, working out,
hunting,
overeating, porn, alcohol, it goes on and on and on. But what you're doing is you are abdicating your position as a man.
Yeah.
Because true men are, first off, they're vulnerable.
Ugh. Yeah.
And the second thing is they have to be intentional, right? And so a man in a relationship should be the one being vulnerable and initiating the hard conversations.
Yeah.
And I was neither.
Wow.
So when I look back, it's easy to say, oh, my wife abandoned and all these kind of things.
Yeah.
But over the 7 years of my own therapy, is to analyze myself and to realize, man, where was I culpable in this? And I was culpable through the whole thing. I mean, I understand why she left.
Wow.
I still believe it was 100% wrong.
Yeah.
Because it could have been fixed.
Sure.
But I understand it.
Yeah. And then looping back, you still could have pursued your dreams still being married.
Yes.
Could have.
I could have. But I was in such a spot in my life, and this is why we really want to inspire guys to examine their lives and to daydream again. What is it that I could see in my life? Don't be complacent. If you find yourself complacent and quitting or just getting lazy and sitting back, man, get off your butt and start to daydream and start to examine what if, because I had buried all those things. Right? We've talked about it. Some of those dreams were from age 11, and I had buried them feeling like, well, they were gone.
Yeah.
And I just bought into that lie.
Yeah. And it's funny you bring that up because of our relationship with God, and we serve this God who's kind, generous, awesome. He's awesome. Like, there's things that I've whispered as a child that I had of like, man, I really would like to do this one day. And like, I forgot about that, like when I was a kid. But then cause I whispered, man, I wish when I was a kid and like a teenager, I was like, I had this idea and this thought, how cool would it be to travel the world and document what God was doing all over the earth?
Yeah.
And like, next thing I know, I'm literally traveling the world, filming, documenting what God's doing all over the earth. And I was like, oh my God. And it hit me like halfway through it.
Right.
I didn't realize like, oh my gosh, I had this idea when I was a kid. Like, this is crazy. And then, then there was a couple others, or like, I mean, there's a few others I can go into, but regardless, like, I had these ideas, these desires that God threw into the mix, like, and I didn't ask him. It just happened. And I feel like when you're honoring marriage, when you're honoring what's going on, like when you're honoring your wife, honoring yourself, honoring your body, and being holy to the Lord. And I mean, I feel like he just throw those things in there in the mix anyway, like without even asking.
You don't have to be begging.
Yeah, you don't have to beg.
While you were talking, I haven't thought of this in years. So what happened one time, we had Daniel McCullum on several months ago, and he was talking about hearing the voice of God, right? That you can hear from God, which we believe that God's always speaking. He speaks through nature, through his word, audibly, through others. And we were at a meeting one day, and I honestly haven't thought about this in 15, 20 years.
Wow.
And this prophet person was there and called me up and said that you want to do it again. God's saying to you that you want to do it again, and he's going to bring back childhood dreams. I hadn't remembered that till right now. Yeah. That you want to do it again. And that's the thing, is like, where did you find life? If you're listening to this and you're finding yourself kind of just in a doldrums, what would you like, if not brand new, what would you like to do again? Yeah. What did you do before that brought you life?
Yeah, that's true. And to loop back to that thought, though, to remind everyone, that still would have happened even if he was married or not. Like, God still would have honored it.
Yes.
So just letting you guys know, because I know it's easy for someone to say, it's like, oh, so God told you that 15 years ago. So God knew that you were going to get divorced, and God probably orchestrated your divorce, and God did. So like, I know people can do that because it's so easy. People can distort God stuff all day long.
Yeah.
And so you still would have had that regardless. And and that's so cool. That's so wild just to go back and look at that.
And it's interesting because obviously there's the grace that God's going to do things in your life and bless you and everything. And frankly, this is where people who give up often do, especially if they have any kind of faith, is they create a justification narrative saying that God's okay with this. I'm quitting. I'm going on. And even if you're like, my life right now is better than it was 8 years ago. It is. It's better than it was 8 years ago. But that's not God's best. He wanted what I'm experiencing now to be happening while I was married.
Yeah. He wanted you to find your identity back when you were married.
Right. So just because you're experiencing better, a woman leaves a husband and she's rebuilding her life, let's say, she's out there and she said, man, I'm happier than I've ever been.
Yeah.
That's not a justification that you should have done it.
Yeah. Oh, man, I saw this. It's so sad. It's like a famous documentary right now about this lady, how she's like trying to guide people away from marriage, like how my marriage set me free, and I'm a better woman than I've ever been, and it's because it was because of my marriage, and it's like
because your marriage ended.
Yeah, because she decided to get a divorce because she felt like marriage was strapping her down, holding her back. And nothing happened. She said our marriage was great. Our marriage was fine. Like there was no cheating, no nothing, all that stuff. She just felt like she was trapped. And I'm just like,
honestly, that's where my ex-wife, she said you were a good husband and a great father.
I'm sorry, man.
Goodbye.
Wow.
But that comes down to one of the big challenges of Next Third Best Third is it's not easy. It's simple to examine your life, right? And to take honest appraisal. It's a simple formula, if you want to call it that. Yeah. But it's not easy. We've got to, as men in particular, we have to do the hard things. And the hard things sometimes are being vulnerable. Yeah. Initiating conversations, hard conversations, having healthy conflict towards something, making changes in your life. If you're not in the shape you are, get in shape. Yeah. Do it. Yeah. People are doing it all over the world. Just do it. If you're sitting there and you're 80 pounds overweight, make the decision, get in shape. Man. Yeah. And we could go all day on this, man, because there's so many thoughts I'm having even right now. If you feel like you're single or you're dating or you're engaged or all this, or you're married right now and you're like, well, maybe marriage might be holding me back. If you're married, you're just doing something wrong. So there's just something off if you're married and you feel like you're being held back. You're just wrong. And if you need help, you can email David and we can go through all of that. But if you are single, if you are dating, if you're engaged, and you need to understand that marriage is hard, and you need to understand that it's 100% on both sides, not 50-50. No. And you also have to understand, if you're not ready for hard things, if you're not ready for the responsibilities, then take a step back, slow down, don't get married yet, wait, get around people who are married, who understand the hard, who's been through a lot of crap, and ask them questions. Because I've even seen young people get married, and then I hear so many stories the wife was like, man, I felt like I went from my father's house to my husband's house. I didn't experience life. So that person just decides, I'm going to divorce my husband and go party. I missed out on things, and they want to experience the world. And so I feel like there's so many things that we can dive into. Yeah, there is. This. One of the things I for those of you who are still listening, hanging on, I hope everyone is on this, but is if you find yourself, if you're a guy right now, especially man or woman, but if you find yourself and you're in a position where your spouse has left or is leaving, has checked out, the greatest thing you can do is to do the self-care and do the hard things for yourself. Yeah. Transform yourself, right? transform yourself. Look at your thoughts, your thought life. Look at your physical condition. Look at your emotions, your identity issues, the relationships you have. Yeah. Examine those. Do the hard thing, because there's men that I have in my life right now who are facing abandonment in their marriage, right?
Yeah.
And the guys who are working on themselves, they're getting better for their kids and for themselves, whether or not their spouse returns. Mm-hmm. And I know that's a scary spot to be in.
Yeah.
But it's the best spot you can be in, because changing yourself, pursuing your dreams, becoming the man you were always supposed to be, breaking out of complacency, breaking out of the medication, and saying, hey, I'm going to be the David that I was designed to be, whether I'm married or not.
Yeah.
Now I'm not saying divorce is, I'm not saying it's okay.
Yeah.
But I'm saying is work on what you can work on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the thing, like, when we want to acknowledge that is very hard when you, because I remember my first marriage, we wrote some really nice vows, man.
Yeah.
Like they're cute. They could have gone viral, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is like, you make all these promises and you as a man, you give your soul, your heart, everything to someone, and then they give up and they want to leave. And so there's like something that happens in you where you're just devastated, you're sad, you're depressed, you're angry, you're confused, and you go through all these emotions. And I feel like your friends that are going through this stuff probably would have a harder time if they didn't have you, if they didn't have some type of community that is supportive. And I'll say this though, this is very important, is like David in his circumstance, he is a single man. He is very well mentally, spiritually, all of that. But be careful if you're a man and you're going through separation or divorce, or you got the papers, or your wife's about to file, like, don't go huddle around a bunch of single guys that are not healthy, that say, bro, let's just go out and drink. Like, hey, let's talk about it, but let's go drink, let's go play golf or whatever. Like, find good, healthy married men that have maybe walked through something. Or someone like David, where he's a healthy single man and he understands what all these feelings are, and he's done his best and he's done everything he can. Because I feel like that's super important too, walking through this. Yeah,
it's who we walk with. You and I, we're living that. That's part of why we do this with Next Third, Best Third. Is we want to create a community of men who are healthy.
Yep.
Who despite their circumstances, remember your brokenness, your pain, your failures, whatever you've gone through, do not disqualify you.
Yeah.
They uniquely qualify you, because as you walk through those, and you gain authority over it.
Yeah.
If you walk through it in victory, right? If you walk through it and you do it the right way.
Yeah, it's true.
I had a choice. 7 years ago, right? I could have gone the way I did, grab onto hope, and reinvent myself and pursue my faith and do the hard stuff. Or I could have just started going out again with other women. I could have, who knows where I could have gone, right?
Yeah.
And been justified in that, in my own mind.
Yeah.
But that wasn't going to bring any healing or well-being to my kids.
Yeah.
Because, we're writing the book on legacy. Legacy is inheritance is what you leave to somebody. Legacy is what you leave in somebody.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. And so I want my kids and my grandkids to have a legacy of what it's like to see a man who's overcome adversity and did it the right way, admittedly stumbling throughout this whole process, but.
Yeah. And I think that answers our question of, is marriage holding you back? It could, but it's because something's off.
That's right.
Not because it's the marriage.
No, marriage.
Not because it's covered in marriage. It's something is off.
That's right. If you're being held back in your life right now, if you feel like, hey, I'm not accomplishing what I want, or you just are, feeling like say in the doldrums, what's the purpose of my life? It's not because of your marriage. in and of itself. It's because, are you working? Are you doing the hard things? Are you asking the questions? Are you building together? So I would encourage you guys to examine your relationship. Have an honest appraisal of your relationship with your partner, significant other,
your spouse.
Right? But have that, to really examine it, take by yourself at first and then bring her into it, right?
Well, and if you're having a hard time, contact this guy. Like, just email him. We have the email. You guys can go to the website.
Yeah.
You can talk to this man here. He can, if you're having a hard time with it, he can walk you through it.
It's interesting you said that, and we'll probably end on this, but yesterday I got a phone call from a guy who I built a relationship with during this process, right?
Yeah.
And he lives out of state, and he said, David, he goes, there's this guy. And he says, and I know him, and he's struggling with his marriage. He's 50 years old. And he goes, I don't think I can speak into his life. He goes, will you call him?
There you go.
I said, absolutely, I'll call him. Gave me his number. We're going to be hooking up here, probably later today or maybe tomorrow.
Cool.
And I don't have the magic touch, or anything, but I'll listen. But I have experience, and I can give him hope, So absolutely, if you need help, reach out to us.
Yeah.
Reach out to us. We respond.
Yeah. We know what it's like to be in the worst of your life. I've hit rock bottom like 6 times, honestly. But I mean, you know what it feels like. So we just know what it feels like. So, and we know we're not the only men out there that have gone through this.
No. And I just want you to know there's hope, right? No matter where you are, there's hope. Your marriage could be on the brink of ending, and there's still hope.
Yeah.
Right.
It's true.
So, well, listen, thanks for joining us. This was great.
This was good.
I'm glad that you did this.
Yeah,
and if you do us a favor, if you'd subscribe, if you haven't, if you'd share this, that helps a lot. Yeah. Comments, anything like that, any interaction with us helps the algorithm. And what we want to do is we want to grow this. We've had an amazing first year, right? We're now a month into our second year.
Yeah.
And we've got some tremendous things in store, some great guests. But we do have some goals, and our goals is, I think we have like 760 subscribers. By the end of the year, I want to have 5,000 subscribers.
Whoa, let's do it.
Let's do that.
That'd be good.
We need your help. So anyways, thanks so much. Go out and make the next third your best third, and we'll see you next time.